Okay, thanks for joining me once again. I'm your host, Derek Lane. Another edition of the Fast Lane, your podcast for success. Thanks for joining me. Hey, listen, let's jump into a subject about goals and goal setting. And I know that you've heard that a million times. And yes, we know you got to set goals. We got to set goals and whatever. But I want to approach this just a little bit differently. I want you to understand that when you set goals, it is so important for you to set your goals, not someone else's, or not what you think someone else would want for you, and not society's goals. You know, I've always talked about the importance of not reinventing the wheel, listening to people, your mentors, learning by, reading books, listening to, the tape CDs, whatever, listening to people live and getting that fresh approach to probably something that you've heard many, many times. See, this whole thing of learning and developing your path and the ideas that are set forth to do so is sprung from an idea of how can we do it more clearly? How can we do this where we're not bogged down, mired in crap and garbage? Well, number one, you have to understand that crap and garbage is out there. You have to understand that there's people that intentionally lead you in ways of what's best for them, not what's best for you. You have your own path. But when they try to convince you that your path should go here, your path should go there, pay me $100 and I'll tell you what you should do. Pay me $3,000 and I'll give you advice. That, okay, if you're so inclined to do so, but you have to understand what worked for one person may not work for you. And you think, well, wait a minute, Derek, that's a contradiction of terms. You just said listen to people, read their books, da. Yes, you do, but not just one person. Learn from many people. That's how you derive your path. That's how you derive to the patterns of success that lay ahead for you. It's be careful not to get too involved into one person's thinking, one person's way of doing things, their model for success, what's theirs. It may not be for you. You can pick and choose and take things from it. You can take nuggets from someone else's advice, someone else's strategy, and they may work for you. But what I'm telling you is that you have to understand your path, your strategy, your plan, your blueprint for making things happen for you. Creating the path of least resistance to success. Yes, there are golden rules. Never hurt someone. Never forget about where you came from. All of the humility comes to play. When you start thinking that you're better than everybody else, when you start thinking that you've got life whooped, that's when it's going to kick you in the pants. It's going to kick you square in the pants, and you're going to say, what happened? Well, my friend, that was karma. That was everything coming back around. Listen, life is yin and yang. It is black and white, good and bad. We know that. We know that. But how do you eliminate the negatives and accentuate the positives? Well, that's by becoming positive in your mindset. That's understanding the negatives and the things that happen to you along the way. And if you sit and let those negative things crush you, then they won. The negative has won because it crushed you. You have to understand the positives are there to lead you. The negatives are there to lead you as well. Huh? How does the negatives lead? Well, when you experience setbacks, you've learned how not to do something. That's pushing you forward. when you experience bad things in your life, and I'm talking bad things, loved ones that become ill and maybe even pass away, and you said there is no possible way that I could learn from that. Well, maybe not. Maybe so. And you have to keep searching for the inner you, that inner self that answers the darkest, deepest questions that we have. If you let that negativism, that darkness consume you, you're not going to get on or stay on the path that you want, the path to freedom. You know, I keep talking about the path and the path for strategy, the path for our success. That doesn't always mean the path of money, which we hope it is a part of it. We all want to be financially secure, financially sound. But the path of freedom, the freedom to experience life as we want, but not just the path of freedom to do and have, but the freedom of mind, the freedom that our mind is clear. And when we have thoughts, they're positive thoughts, they're clear thoughts, they're thoughts that help us, and they're thoughts that help others. One of the surest ways to get anything you want is to help others get what they want. Doesn't mean that you have to move out of the way and give in and cave into everything around you. No, it's allowing someone else to succeed alongside you and give them the motivation and the courage to do it. When you see someone that needs a helping hand, have the courage to do that. Have the wherewithal within your heart to help people succeed and grow on their journeys as well. And that's what this is a journey. It's a journey of life. You can have a miserable life, or you can have a bountiful life, a life that brings forth joy, pleasure, all of the positive things that we want in our life. We want financial freedom. We want to be able to say what we want, when we want, where we want. And sometimes it's a fight to do that. You may be somewhere where freedom is inconceivable. Not just physical freedom, but mental freedom. You just don't understand how you will ever achieve that. Well, it starts with your thinking. It starts with the ideas that you can be. And you were born to be a free individual. You were born to be a person that lives a wonderful life. It starts with the knowledge of that. It starts with the knowledge that you are you. You're not someone else's success story. You're not a servant to someone else's thoughts. You are you. And the best path for you is the best path for you. And that starts by understanding yourself. If you're clouded, you can't understand your path. If you're foggy, you don't know your own way. You don't know your thoughts. You don't know what you're supposed to be doing. So your goal here is to find who you are and what you're supposed to do. Once you know what you're supposed to do and it starts to click, your life becomes such a pleasure, such a joyous experience on this planet. So don't let other people tell you what you're supposed to do. Listen to your heart. If you don't, I encourage you, meditate, understand different forms of meditation. For me, it's just being quiet and silent. I'm not into, the yoga or, whatever. And for those that are, good, that works. But for me, it's total silence. And it's been said the hardest thing to do is to do nothing. Your mind wants to race. Your mind wants to figure things out. You start getting these ideas and, I can't do this right now. I got things to do. You have to control your thoughts. You have to control you. You have to slow down and understand that the true answers comes to you when you truly allow them to. Answers rarely come to you when other things are going on in your mind, in the back of your mind, your subconscious, your conscious. When other things are going on and you're getting all of these ideas and thoughts and what have you, you're not getting the answers to the real questions. You have to control your mind. And the beauty of that is, once you learn to control your mind, you understand that you can control what comes in. Then it starts to adapt into your everyday life. When you control your thoughts, your thinking, your patterns, who you are, and not just give in to what you're supposed to be or what someone else thinks you're supposed to be, and that this is who I am because that's what I did yesterday. That is killer thinking. This is who I am. This is what I do. I come to work, I push this button, I answer this phone, and, I write this report, whatever. I go to work and, I dig this hole and I plant this post, whatever it is. Whatever you do, that's not you. I mean, it can be you if you found that's what makes you blissful in life. If you're like, you've gone on a journey and you said, I understand the value of this and I love it. I love what I do. If you don't love what you do, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. If you're not 100% vested in who you are and you're still searching, you're allowing other things to control you. Outside forces. Inside forces. What's that mean? I think we talked about that. What you think about. What you think you're supposed to think. Let me say that again. What you think you're supposed to think. Oftentimes, it's not what we're supposed to think. We're supposed to find out who we are. We're supposed to find out our life's journey, our life's meaning. Okay, I've gone on a little bit. Hopefully this makes sense to you. Find your path. Go your way. Do things your way. But get the help that you need to do that. Again, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, but you don't have to succumb to what someone else's thinking is. If you see products and advertisements on television asking you to buy this because it's the latest and greatest, if you didn't need it before, do you need it now? Well, I mean, maybe. If that's always the thinking, then I might not even have this podcast might not even have a computer or a cell phone. And now, in the world that we live in, oh my gosh, it's an appendage. So, be the person that you want to be. Be the person that is striving for freedom. Freedom of mind, freedom of thinking, freedom to do, have, and be the person that in the back of your mind you want to be. That gnawing in your gut that tells you that something's wrong. Change it. That ticking in your brain that says, I can do something more. Change it. You have the ability. As long as you're drawing a breath of air, you have the ability. Okay. Thank you for joining me on this podcast. I appreciate your listenership. And if there's one thing in here that you think someone else will enjoy or get a benefit from, share it with them. Tell them to jump on whatever platform they can find me. They can find me. I'm out there. The Fast Lane Podcast for Success. I'm your host, Derek Lane. And we will do this again next week. This has been fun for me. This is part of my path, part of my journey. I love it.